Hey guys, welcome to Brick Hub. Today we're going to review the Mezco 112 Collective Deathstroke. As always, if you guys enjoy this video, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below to let me know what you think, and subscribe to this channel hitting that notification bell. Also, check out our Instagram page. So this is a much older figure, and this is one of Mezco's original figures, but this is one that I had to have. I'm kind of surprised they didn't make more of him later on. Originally, when it first came out, they had the regular figure and then the PX exclusive, which instead of the blue and the orange, it was black and kind of like a goldish color, maybe a goldish orange. But anyways, I love DC, but of course Deathstroke is one of my favorite villains of all time, and hopefully Mezco is going to make a Deadshot as well, because I'd love to have some Suicide Squad members on display as well. But on the back of the box, this is the figure in its pose with the regular head as well as the unmasked Slade Wilson head. It has a sheath that looks like some kind of Glock, but at the very least some pistol. I'm not sure what this gun is supposed to be. If you guys know, then you guys can let us know in the comments below. He has a katana, his stand with his posing post, and 6 hands. A lot of these older Mezco figures didn't have as many accessories and as many features as they do today, but still a very, very good looking figure. And on the bottom side of the box, you have 4 shots of the figure in action. Inside the box, you have the figure as well as all of its accessories, and of course the stand behind him. And because I bought this figure new, even though I bought it secondhand, it was new, it was covered in all the proper plastic, which is good. Underneath the figure tray, you have just this clear tray that has the accessories bag as well as the post to hold them up. So this is the Deathstroke figure out of the box, and wow, what a figure. I think this is a pretty impressive figure considering this was one of Mezco's first few attempts at superhero action figures. And one of the things I really like about this figure that I guess modern Mezco figures don't really have is that his clothes fit kind of baggy, so it's a lot easier to bend him at his joints. Now, one thing that does kind of suck is, of course, he does have the very hard armor and this neck guard here, and these shin guards, and all that actually inhibits some of that extra mobility. So I guess it is a little bit give and take in that regard, but very, very nice looking figure. Just to show you some of that articulation, of course, he can turn his head. That's probably the best he can do, but he really can't look up much. He can look down a little bit, but then of course he has his neck guard. His arms pretty much kind of stop right here, and it's even worse on this arm because it goes up a little bit further. He does get some pretty good bend in the elbow, but that is still not as good as some other Mezco figures. Now, his legs are double jointed, but he still can't kick his butt. And now this is one thing that I think is probably the worst, joint in this figure is his ankles. They are so unposable. Like, you can twist them a little bit, you can move them back and forth just a little bit, but because of these shin guards, they really kind of block that mobility. Now, that being said, they did make this piece pretty loose right here so that it would help make it a little bit more posable despite all of that armor, but it's pretty tough. Now, his ab crunch is pretty limited. Like, that's about as far as he can go back and about as far as he can go up forward, which is a little bit too bad. Also, before I move on, just want to take note that this is one of the few Mezco figures that has battle damage on him. He has some on his helmet, his shoulder, his gauntlets, even on his back, as well as his shin guards. A lot of the Mezco figures kind of just do the undamaged, he just like changed into the outfit sort of look. And this is just a nice change of pace. Hopefully Mezco will do more of this in the future. As far as the accessories go, like I mentioned before, he doesn't come with as many as the new Mezco figures, but he has the 2 default closed fists. He has 2 of these katana holding hands, 1 for each side, and those are sculpted pretty decently, I think. And then he also has this right trigger finger hand, which is for the Glock or the rifle, as well as this other hand to hold the other side of the rifle if he wishes to hold it sideways. Now, that being said, he has that rifle, and it comes with a removable magazine, which I always appreciate. Of course, when we have removable magazines, I would have liked to have more, but he also has a pistol, and it looks like a Glock, and it has the removable magazine as well. Now, the magazine can go all the way in just like that, but you can also kind of leave it out a little bit to make it look like it's kind of an extended magazine, which a lot of Glock fans sometimes enjoy. And then, of course, you have his katana. And of course, you have the unmasked Slade Wilson head, and I did not like the pictures, but man, I am liking it in person. It just looks so good. I do think it would have been nice if he was kind of angry or showing some teeth, but this is still very, very nice. And finally, he has this sort of kind of harness holster thing where he also has the sheath for his katana. I don't know how much I like it. It's kind of supposed to just go like this over his head and hang over his body like that, but I don't know if I would ever really display with this on there. But it is nice to be able to put the katana in and have that on his display. So I was gonna try and do a little bit more posing with this figure for you guys, but I don't think that's gonna be able to happen just because for whatever reason, on both feet, the peg hole is just not deep enough to hold the peg. And normally when you lift the figure, it'll come up pretty easily. Actually, I mean, this one's holding now, but you see there's a gap there. I've never had another Mezco figure with a peg hole that was just that shallow. It needs to be at least another 1 or 2 millimeters deep. So that's a pretty big disappointment because I do love these stands and I love posing them on these stands. I don't like using those clear I guess clamps to hold them up, because unless they're in-flight characters, just because I think it's a lot cooler and a lot more exciting to see them running on the ground or something like that. As far as the value, I unfortunately had to pay secondary market prices, and I paid just over $300 for this figure. And while I think it is a fantastic figure, it is one of Mezco's earlier attempts and is thus not as polished, but also I have to imagine there's going to be a better Deathstroke figure in the future. At $300, I kind of regret making this purchase. I would say even at $200, which is way above what the original retail price was, it would have been a much better deal, but $300 is just not there. And anyways, that's it for this review. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe and like this video. Thanks guys, bye.